Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We are continuing to work with the Vishuddhi chakra in this practice, which is the fifth chakra located in the throat. We were working on this same area or level of consciousness last week, and there was a question in the comment section: how do I know when my throat chakra is open? And there's a little bit, probably more coherent explanation that I wrote up in the blurb for class, so you can refer to that for more information. What I notice is that there can be physical sensations of discomfort in the neck or in the head. People often will say, I've been getting headaches lately, or have a sense of pressure or congestion, of like a feeling of wanting the energy to move deeper into the head. And that's a great time to use Jalandhara Bandha, which we used in the last class. Fifth chakra is also most commonly thought of as associated with communication. So if you feel unheard, if you have a hard time hearing other people, that might be an indication that there's trouble in that area. It's also how we create in the world. So second and fifth chakra are associated in that way, and it's how we bring forth creative expression in the world. In the second chakra, it's actually associated with procreation. And here it's, I would say it's how our ability to feel like we've expressed our ultimate self. So if that feels stifled, if you feel like people don't get you, that might be fifth chakra. But the thing that I'm really going to emphasize today, what is when your fifth chakra is working, or when this level, when you're operating from a higher level of consciousness, that you stop feeling like you're just your ego. When we're born, we have no ego. We don't even know that we're a separate entity from other things. All the information that comes in from our senses is undifferentiated. We don't know a cowbell from an ambulance from the coo of our mother's voice. So over time, we use the senses to build up this pantheon of information that allows us to operate in the world successfully. Great. And that vehicle of all those memories and experiences and images become our ego. And so it's a great tool for operating in the physical world. But sadly, all of that focus on the outside, on the sensorial, disengages us from what is a greater part of ourself. And once you get to the level of the fifth chakra, you can move beyond that sense of just being your ego, and you start to feel, what is more than that? And it's often experienced as a state of bliss. In fact, the fifth chakra is associated with amrit, or nectar. It's got a lot of different names in different traditions. Soma, intoxicant. And it's this idea that as we feel this connection, as we feel this bliss connection through the seventh chakra, through bindu, that a sweet nectar drips down to the level of the throat. And at that point, it purifies all of our experiences so that we're not so tied up in the bad things or the good things, and we can experience the fullness of life. So that's my description of the fifth chakra being open. So let's go ahead and move into the activities for class. It's a very gentle physical practice today. So we'll close our eyes. Feel like you're settling down. In fact, oftentimes I'll feel like I'm physically or energetically pulling energy in from all of the things that my mind is parsed out on to take care of later in the day, or that I've already been dealing with earlier in the day. So like drawing in your attention, drawing it in, narrowing your focus, pulling it in. And just for the next little bit of time, disengaging from other people. Just beginning to turn down the volume on all of your senses. Turning down the volume on all of the compulsive conversations that you may be having in your mind. Turning down the volume on emotions, especially those negative ones. Oh, good. Just continuing to use your focus to draw yourself in, drawing yourself in, helping you to narrow your focus. And then further drawing your focus in, pull it down to the part of your body that's resting on the floor or on a chair. Feel all the points of connection. Feel like those points, the whole area of connection, actually spreads out, has a greater surface area due to your body feeling heavier, more grounded, more solid. Great. Keep that sense of solid foundation, and then shift your attention into your spine. Let your rib cage balance perfectly above your hips, and let your head balance perfectly above your rib cage. And if that feels like a struggle, it might mean that you need to be sitting a little bit higher. All right, that's better. And then really honing in on that focus. Start to experience your thoughts and your sensory input as something that you are observing rather than being in the midst of. A great way to do that is just watching the breath, watching the natural movement of the breath. All right, good. Let's chant Om Namo Gurudev Namo to tune in. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Let the breath flow in. Let it keep flowing in. Totally relaxed, but letting the breath get to be really full. Keep the breath in. Attention down in the base of the pelvic floor, and feel like you are keeping energy in your body by lightly engaging and drawing up on the muscles in the pelvic floor. Last week we worked a lot with Jalandhara Bandha. You can get a sense of that too. Lift through your chest, draw down through your chin, draw back with the base of your skull. Relax all of that except for your hands. Stay seated here. I feel like with fifth chakra, especially, setting an intention starts to be crucial. As we move into this level of consciousness, it's what we think and what we say become more and more fully possible. So get clear about what it is that you want those possibilities to be. I have had the same mantra or the same intention for many months. You can do that, or you may change it. It's always good, though, to keep the same intention until you start to see a result. Positive statement and the present tense. An example, mine is, I enjoy my life to the fullest. Okay, great. Let's do a little breath of fire. Go ahead and bring your arms all the way up. Big V shape. Feel the V connect behind your heart. Reach up through all of your fingertips. Feel dynamism from the fingertips to the area behind the chest and the center of the back between the shoulder blades. So your shoulder blades are working, your elbows are straight, your fingers are reaching up. Let's go ahead and just keep all the fingers spread for the moment and powerful breath of fire. Exhale forcefully, draw the navel back. Inhale passive. Keep going and feel your thumbs reach up more distinctly than the rest of your hand. So you've got a great long line of length through the tips of the thumbs, through the wrists, elbows, shoulders, all the way to the back of the heart chakra, and then take the fingertips into the pads of the hands. Go ahead and have your eyes gaze upwards as much as they possibly can, up and in, like you were looking towards the brow point or to the top of the head. Keep going just a little bit longer. Take the tip of your tongue to the back of your upper teeth and press. And start to push the tip of the tongue upwards along the hard, rough, bony palate on the roof of the mouth, and then keep going back until you feel the soft palate, and continue an upward pressure there just a bit longer. And now we'll inhale, gather up the muscles of the pelvic floor, straighten the arms until the thumb tips touch. Lift up through your chest, draw down through your chin, and draw the base of your skull back. Keep pressing up with the tip of the tongue. Keep gazing up with the eyes. Relax everything. Wonderful. Okay, we're going to do one of my favorites next. We'll do lion pose, and the reason that I chose it is because it's a powerful stimulant for the throat, in particular for the lymph nodes in the back of the throat and the tonsils, which is part of the immune system. Okay, so if you can sit on your heels, it's great to be able to put your knees wide. If you're sitting in a chair, you can do the exact same thing, wide knees. And if you can, turn your fingertips to face towards you. If not, have them face the other way. So I've got my big toes touching. Nice, full, deep inhale. Lift through your chest, lift through your chin. And then to exhale, we're going to stick our tongue out as far as it will go to where it tugs and isn't slightly painful in the connection point. If you want, you can actually waggle your tongue side to side. Your eyes are going to be opened wide, and you make as much sound as you feel comfortable making. Here we go. Your spine should feel like it's in a bit of a back bend, really getting expansive across your throat. One more time. Next, we're going to come onto hands and knees and do cat-cow. The distinction is that we're going to be working on the intrinsic muscles. So those are the small muscles anywhere in your body that are the closest to the bone. The muscles closest to the bone tend to be smaller and just go across shorter distances between bones. And then the further out you go, the bigger the muscles are and the broader sections that they span. So we're going to focus on cat-cow, getting those smaller muscles, and we're going to do the same thing when we work on the neck. And the way we're going to do that is just moving really, really slowly. So we'll take 5 seconds for an inhale. Five seconds for an exhale. It can be actually a little bit harder to go this slow. So ideally, you will use your attention and your focus, having it be on the spine. See if you can think about each individual vertebra as you move through the range. When you get to the peak of either end, emphasize the throat area. So here, your mouth is closed, lips together, and really try and stretch across the front of the throat. Try and feel each segment. Feel like you're in a little bit of a Jalandhara Bandha when your breath is all the way exhaled out. we're going really slow, trying to take attention to these tiny muscles because they will be working on autopilot, and we're going to try and override any chronic tension or perhaps unuseful adaptations that they made. Do one more round. And then if there's some other movement you'd like to do to feel complete with that. Great. Go ahead and come out of the pose. And we're going to work with our neck next. So you can sit with your legs out straight. Or if you prefer, you can stay seated and comfortable cross-legged. So we're going to work on the health of the neck, and we're going to use those same smaller intrinsic muscles to do the movements. So we'll start just simply doing the head in the no range of motion. So you want to be really tall through your head. In fact, you could put one hand on the top of your head, lengthen up into your hand. Keep that length, and then slowly turn your head to the right. When we get to the end of range, we're not going to try and push past it. See if you can feel each vertebra move. Good, and then come back through center. Keep that upward length through the top of the head. Great, we're just going to go side to side a few times. Slowing it down can allow us to see where we have habitual tics in our way of moving. This can be slightly annoying, so just stick with it, keep your focus. Keep paying attention to trying to experience each segment of your neck moving slowly and independently and smooth, smooth, smooth. No strain, just trying to get range of motion. And then the next time your head turns to the right, put the palm of your left hand against your cheek, and you are going to, with just about 10% of your strength, turn your head into your hand, but resist it with your hand. Good, and then relax, and use your hand to push your head just a tiny bit deeper. Great, stay long through your whole spine to the top of your head. With just 10% of your strength, turn your head into your hand, so turning my head that way. But it doesn't really move, there's just resistance because my hand's there. Good, then relax, stop turning, totally relaxed in your neck, and let your head get turned passively by your hand a little bit further. One more time. Tall through your spine, turn your head slightly to the left, so just 10% of your strength. Relax, no more movement, and then see if your hand can help you turn a tiny bit more. Good, come back to center. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Right hand on your cheek, on your right cheek, and just turn your head, only 10% of your strength, resist. Then I'm going to relax my neck and use my hand to turn my head a bit more. 2 more times. Great. Release, come back to center, pause for a second. Is there anything that your neck would like to do to feel complete from that? All right, great. Next one. Again, remember, super tall, straight spine. fingers on your chin, and you're going to use your fingers to help guide your chin, pressing it back like you're going into Jalandhara Bandha. And then release, press back, release, press back, release. One more time. Okay, really, this is the last one. Here you go, one more time. Press back. Keep your hand here. Give yourself a little resistance, and then with just a tiny bit of your strength, try and push your chin out. And then relax. And use your fingers to press your head back. Good, and then let your hand down. Is there any movement that you need to make to feel complete from that? Okay. Next, we'll all through the spine. You could actually put your hand on your chin to help guide it straight up and straight down. Trying to notice each segment of movement in your neck as you go back and forth. And even trying to notice that last little segment of movement that's between the top vertebra and the base of the skull. And one more round up. Good. When you get all the way up, your fingers are just on the underneath side of your chin. And it's like you're trying to bring your head upright with just 10% of your strength. Your fingers are going to resist, keeping you from making the movement. Hold that for a few seconds. And then stop contracting your head and let your fingers push your head back just a little bit. Great. Come back to neutral, pause. Is there any movement you need to make? Do it. All right, ears side to side. So this is a very easy one to start to torque your head. So pay attention as you slowly drop your ear over to one side. Don't strain at the end. And then when you're coming back up, you're stacking from the bottom to the top. Great. And then from the top, working your way down as you drop your ear to the other side. And now try and stack from the bottom to the top as you come back up. The neck is a very vulnerable part of the spine because there aren't any additional supporting bones. It's just the delicate balance of the vertebra. And because of that, it's vulnerable to injury. And you might really be experiencing some of those old, I don't know, emotions or flashes of memory as you move through these possibly stifled ranges of motion. A couple more. Once your head is back to the original shoulder, you're going to turn the base of your skull a little bit down and the tip of your nose a little bit up. Put the opposite hand on your cheek. And the movement is going to be as though you were trying to take your head back upright. but your hand is here. Again, you're using the most minimum amount of power in your head as you're trying to write it. And then as you relax, just let your head go a little bit deeper into the movement. Let's do that one more time. Try and bring your head as though you're moving it towards an upright position. Resist. Relax everything. And see if your head wants to just relax a little bit more. Good. And then very slowly paying attention to each vertebra. Come all the way back upright. Drop your ear to the opposite shoulder. Base of the skull goes down a little bit. Tip of the nose comes up a little bit. And we'll use the hand to resist. So the movement that I'm making is as though I'm trying to do this. Come all the way back upright. But your hand is resisting. Very slight amount of strength used. Then relax and see if your head will go deeper into the side bend. And one more time. And then relax. And maybe your head will want to release a little bit more. And then slowly, slowly stacking the vertebra all the way back up. Pause. All right, one more of these. I know it's a little bit slow. So next we'll do figure 8 movement. Last week we did this as though we were moving from the tip of our nose. This time, see if you can have a sense of drawing the figure 8 with the back of your skull back here. So I'll go down one way, up over here, across, so it's really like I'm thinking about these two bony spots at the base of my skull, and that those are what's making the movement. Going as slow as I possibly can. When you come back to neutral, pause and make your figure 8 or your infinity sign go the other way. Noticing that it may not work very well in the opposite direction. And if that's the case, you have to just pay a little more attention and go slower. Great, and then come back to neutral and pause. All right, and next we'll do whichever works best for you. Some form of inversion. You may be great at doing shoulder stand, so go ahead and set yourself up for that. You may prefer to be in bridge pose, put a block or some sort of bolster underneath your hips and take your legs up. Or you may want to do this bound bridge pose like we did last week. So I'll demonstrate that one. You do whatever's going to work for you. And we're essentially trying to create the same sensation that we got with Jalandhara Bandha in the previous class. All right. So I'm doing this version because I'm going to be holding the backs of my heels, backs of my ankles. I might need to have my feet further apart so that I can really get a hold of them. Lifting the hips up and then stacking the shoulders further underneath me so that my chest is able to lift. And then I use the strength of my arms to help me lift my chest more. Wonderful. Go ahead and roll yourself out of whichever inversion you're doing. We'll do a counter pose. Last week I think I demonstrated alligator, which is you could also call it watching TV on your stomach pose, where you're like that on your stomach, just trying to get length and stretch through the front of the throat where we just compressed. And then I'm going to work with fish pose. And fish pose can feel like a bit of a strain. So if you want to put some padding so that the top of your head has a little more support, that's a great alternative. Hands, forearms underneath your hips. Arch through your spine. Feel your shoulder blades squeeze towards each other. Lift through your chin so that you feel that stretch in the throat. Good, and then soften out of the pose. And set yourself up for Nadi Shodhana. So last week we did extended Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, with the emphasis on using Jalandhara Bandha on the hold, holding the breath in, hold after inhale. This week we're going to do extended Nadi Shodhana with a focus on maintaining Ujjayi and maintaining Keturi Mudra the whole time. So last week I talked about how Jalandhara Bandha impacts the baroreceptors of the carotid arteries in the throat, allowing the blood pressure to, will trigger the blood pressure to be reduced, and that has all sort of physiological effects, putting our autonomic nervous system towards a meditative state. And in addition, we're able to hold our breath longer, and in that suspended breath state, again, our body is physiologically pushed towards getting to a meditative place. So a little bit more about Keturi Mudra. I already talked about it. At one point, you want the tip of your tongue to roll along the roof of your mouth until it gets as far back as it can go, and you'll feel it moves from pressing against something bony to pressing against something squishy. So what you might notice is there's a distinct tugging at the root of your tongue. That's beneficial because it stimulates a salivary secretion that diminishes the sense of hunger and thirst. And again, that takes some of the activity of our mind that would be preoccupied with hunger and thirst and allows it to be available for meditation and that harmonizing of all of the brain waves. So we've got the impact there. Both Ujjayi and Keturi Mudra also put a very slight pressure on those baroreceptors, so we get that lowered blood pressure, calmer neurologically. And then last but not least, there's supposedly a mini chakra associated with Visshuddhi called the Lani Chakra, and it is where the tongue is pressing into the soft palate. And it's supposed to be the reservoir of bliss nectar, and that when we get to those higher meditative states, that bliss nectar helps us to neutralize our excessive reactions, our destructive reactions to the reality of the world. Supposedly, if people's fifth chakras aren't working, or if we're not able to access that bliss component, then the nectar acts like a poison and our life experiences can be registered negatively. I almost feel like this is parallel to the amygdala, where the emotional impact of our memories and our experiences can either remain traumatic, or we can figure out how to integrate them into our lives and move forward. All right, so that's what we're going to be using Keturi Mudra today. We're going to do our best to keep Ujjayi and Khechari going through the entire pranayama practice. If you like, adopt the classic posture of the hands, right hand, thumb against the right nostril, index and middle finger against Bhumadja, the brow point, left hand in Gyan Mudra, and we'll just begin with some alternate nostril breathing. Already using Ujjayi. So before you kick in with the tongue, before you start using the tongue mudra, let's just work with Ujjayi and really get a sense of feeling it in the throat. Keep going, and if you are not really feeling it in the throat, experiment with slightly altering your posture. You might want to move more towards a Jalandhara posture with your chest really lifted, with the chin slightly dropped, the base of the skull a little bit back. Now that you've got a sense of what that feels like, go ahead and engage the tongue and notice the subtle difference that happens, especially in the throat, sort of a increased sense of gentle pressure there. Great, so keep going and just say to yourself, go ahead and promise to yourself that you will keep your focus strong enough so that you maintain Ujjayi and Keturi Mudra throughout the entire pranayama practice. Also, be very clear that the use of these two are creating a relaxation response in your body. Really emphasize for yourself the sense of the sensations in your throat as you're using these two practices, and how with every breath, every aspect of yourself becomes more and more relaxed. So keep going, and remembering that the most important thing here is to perpetually enhance the sense of ease and relaxation. We're allowing ourselves to neurologically and physiologically move deeper into a bliss state, a meditative synchronicity of our brainwave state. And if you can maintain that and add holding your breath after you've inhaled, then do that. And a nice way to do it is to simply go ahead and squeeze both nostrils closed while you're holding your breath. And this should feel so inviting. It should be like, oh, sitting down in a comfy chair after a long day's work. If you have already done the previous session, the one we did last week, you'll have a really good sense of how to gently move yourself deeper towards Jalandhara Bandha, so that when you're holding the breath in with the nostrils closed, you feel a lift in your chest, a stronger lift in your chest. Especially the top part where the collarbones are. Feel that part lifting upwards. It's like the chin is scooping down towards the lifted chest. And the base of your neck slides back so that you feel a distinct squishing around the thyroid, the Adam's apple. And you're going to release all of that so that the passageway is a little more open when you're ready to exhale. Work towards using your observational mind as you keep going. So if we're in an ego state with holding our breath, we'll be concerned about how long can we do it? Can I do it more? Can I do it better? If you're observing, you're simply fascinated by the process, by the sense of peace while the breath is held, and just paying attention to how long that can go on until there's any cue of tension. And then we know that it's time to lift the chin a bit so that the air can flow freely, and exhale. if you feel confident in staying in your observational state of mind, if you are very familiar with Jalandhara Bandha, did that practice last week, you can go ahead and hold the breath with full Jalandhara Bandha, where you drop the hands to the knees on the hold. Using that full Jalandhara Bandha, there's muscle engagement in the shoulders and in the arms. So it's a little bit easier to start to trigger stress or lack of ease. So just keep emphasizing that everything about this practice is relaxation. Just another minute or so, and a reminder that each of the bandhas is a mechanism for unraveling where we are personally stuck, where we have triggers in our life. And with Jalandhara Bandha, we're at the point of letting go of the last sense of attachment to our ego. After you finish the next exhale, stop the practice and just sit in a meditative state. Hopefully, because of the practice, that was a nice long 15-minute session of alternate nostril breathing. That's a great amount of time for a daily practice. Because of it and its benefits, you should hopefully be dropped right into a nice meditative state of mind. We're going to continue meditating, and if you would like to do this next bit lying on your back, go ahead and lie on your back. We're going to work with the idea of pratyahara, which is, again, that idea of turning down how much the senses are our focus right now. Just like you have a volume knob on each one of your senses, we're going to turn them down. However you are sitting, go ahead and have your fingertips so that your fingertips are not touching anything. We're going to move through each of the 5 senses, actively disengaging our alertness in each of them. So take your attention to your fingertips and really notice the air across the tips of your fingertips. Imagine that there is something that you're really wanting to touch just beyond your fingertips. Notice that there is a neurological, perhaps a muscular engagement as you're striving for that. And now just shift into the opposite. Disengage. Draw yourself away from the sense of touch. Come to your tongue and your mouth. Swallow. And as you finish, let your tongue relax and let your throat relax. Draw your attention away from the muscles in the tongue and the throat. Pulling your attention away from the sense of taste. Come to your ears and feel like there's something very far away that you're trying to hear. And notice that there's tiny little muscles around and in your ears that you might feel engaged as you're reaching for that sound. And now do the opposite. Turn that off. Draw your attention away from the ears. Draw your attention inward. Come to the nose. Feel like you're trying to smell something that's very light scent. Notice around the base of your nostrils, there's muscles that engage. And now let them go. Let them soften, let them ease, and feel like you're drawing yourself away from the sense of smell. And now to the eyes. Very lightly, almost no movement at all. Raise your eyebrows. Feel the softening around all of the muscles of the eyes, the tissues around the eyes, and draw yourself in and away from the sense of sight. And as we have progressively turned down the sensory input, notice that what's left is a sense of space. You may feel this sense of space in particular inside your head. Be aware of the space inside your head. Be aware of the space that's the room that you're in. Be aware of the space that your community, your town, your neighborhood. And be aware of a greater landmass of the continent that you're on. Be aware of the space of the world. Be aware of the space of the solar system. Be aware of the space of the galaxy. Become the space beyond the galaxy, infinite space, unlimited, limitless, expansive. Merge with infinite space. Now experience limitless space inside yourself, perhaps inside your chest. Feel that this limitless space is actually emerging and is inside your chest. That you are everything, that you are limitless potential. Perhaps you will feel a preference to experience this sense of limitless in your chest, or perhaps you prefer to feel it in your mind, in your head. Either one is fine. And then from this space, we'll chant love, peace, light to all. Here we go.
Love, peace, light to all. 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 Saregama parani satana maramada sasasiso. Saregama parani satana maramada sasasiso. Saregama parani satana maramada sasasiso. Love, peace, light to all. 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 Saregama parani satana maramada sasasiso. Saregama parani satana maramada sasasiso. Saregama parani satana maramada sasasiso. Love, peace, and light to all. Love, peace, 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 light to all. Saregama parani satana maramada sasasiso. Saregama parani
All right. One other clue that your fifth chakra is working is that your voice will become more lovely. Your singing will become more lovely. One of the ideas behind spending a month on each chakra is that you can master the individual techniques, maybe practice them on a daily basis so that you get a more substantial improvement. But a great thing to do for fifth chakra is just to sing. Find times when you can sing out loud and robustly where no one's going to be judging you, or if you can ignore their judgment, find places to sing. Sing, 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 sing. And in that vein, let's do 3 Sat Nams. Belt it out. Express yourself to the universe through your Sat Nam. Here we go. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. May our lives be more full of bliss.
Sat Nam. Namaste.
Thank you. See you next time.